Hair loss is one of those mysteries that frustrates millions across the globe. Men and women alike experience it, yet the patterns differ drastically. In men, hair often recedes from the top of the scalp, forming the iconic horseshoe shape of androgenic baldness. Women, on the other hand, generally suffer from diffuse thinning along the crown. But why does hair grow on the chin or body while the scalp becomes barren? The answer lies deep within a microscopic structure we often overlook. The hair follicle? A follicle is far more than just the root of a hair. Think of it as a tiny, highly specialized factory. Inside this factory, energy production is crucial. Mitochondria, the cell's energy powerhouses, fuel growth. These follicles demand a constant supply of oxygen and nutrients to thrive. As we age, hormones that once supported healthy hair production begin to shift. Testosterone gradually declines in both men and women. Paradoxically, another hormone, dihydrotestosterone or DHT, a derivative of testosterone, often rises. DHT isn't inherently harmful. It plays roles in libido and other body functions. However, excessive DHT creates a hostile environment for follicles, oxygen levels drop, inflammation escalates, and scar tissue begins to form. Over time, these factors kill follicular activity, leaving bald, shiny patches of scalp. This mechanism explains the hallmark patterns of androgenic hair loss, but it raises a bigger question. Why does DHT rise in the first place? Genetics play a role, no doubt. Certain individuals have more active enzymes that convert testosterone into DHT, or their follicles possess receptors that are hypersensitive to this hormone. Yet genetics alone don't paint the full picture. Environmental and lifestyle factors, particularly insulin resistance, act as hidden accelerators. Insulin resistance amplifies enzyme activity, floods the system with free testosterone, and ultimately boosts DHT levels. This discovery reframes hair loss as not just a cosmetic issue, but a reflection of systemic health. Medications targeting DHT can help, but they come with a cost. Drugs like finasteride inhibit the enzyme responsible for DHT production. While effective, side effects such as decreased libido and erectile dysfunction are common. The real breakthrough, however, doesn't just involve suppressing DHT, it requires repairing the follicle itself, creating a fertile environment where hair can flourish once more. To truly reverse hair loss, we must move beyond simple hormone manipulation. The follicle is more than a hair root, it is an ecosystem. Like soil for a seed, it provides everything the hair needs to grow: oxygen, energy, nutrients, and protection from inflammation. Once DHT triggers oxygen deprivation, a cascade begins. Hypoxia sets in, inflammation spreads, scar tissue forms, and follicles shut down. At this point, simply blocking DHT isn't enough. The environment itself must be healed. One of the most overlooked yet highly effective therapies is mechanical stimulation of the scalp. This isn't just gentle massage, it's a targeted awakening of dormant stem cells and a breakdown of scar tissue. Microneedling, a technique once reserved for dermatological clinics, has emerged as a powerful tool. Tiny needles penetrate the scalp, opening pathways for oxygen and nutrients to reach deep into the follicle. It is akin to aerating compacted soil to allow water and sunlight to nourish seeds. Stem cells, previously inactive, begin to awaken, initiating repair at the cellular level. Yet stimulating the cells is only half the battle. Mitochondria, the energy factories within the follicle, often degrade over time. Without functional mitochondria, even an awakened follicle cannot sustain hair growth. This is where red and near-infrared light therapy comes into play. Wavelengths between 630 and 850 nanometers penetrate the scalp, restoring mitochondrial function and boosting energy production. Research shows these wavelengths not only support hair growth, but improve cellular function in other tissues, such as the eyes. The principle is simple. More energy means follicles can perform their primary task, creating hair. Blood flow is equally critical. Hair cannot grow without oxygen and nutrient delivery. This is why topical solutions like minoxidil, known widely as Rogaine, are so effective. They dilate blood vessels, increasing circulation to dormant follicles. Natural alternatives like rosemary oil mimic some of these effects. Its phytonutrients reduce inflammation, inhibit DHT, and enhance microcirculation, supporting follicular recovery. By combining mechanical stimulation, light therapy, and circulation enhancement, we are essentially creating an environment where the hair follicle can return to optimal function. However, these therapies are not standalone solutions. If the original drivers of hair loss remain unchecked, insulin resistance, nutrient deficiencies, and enzyme overactivity, then follicle repair can only go so far. Correcting systemic health issues while simultaneously revitalizing the follicle is the dual approach required for meaningful, sustainable hair regrowth. Even the most advanced scalp therapies will struggle if the underlying metabolic and nutritional factors aren't addressed. Insulin resistance is at the top of this list. When cells become less responsive to insulin, the body struggles to regulate glucose, which triggers a chain reaction affecting hormones. More free testosterone circulates in the bloodstream, which is then converted into excess DHT. This is the hidden accelerator of hair loss, and it affects men and women alike. Addressing insulin resistance isn't just about hair, it restores overall health, reduces inflammation, and protects organs from long-term damage. Nutritional support forms the second pillar of hair restoration. Certain micronutrients are absolutely essential for follicular function. Zinc, for example, regulates enzyme activity and supports stem cell function, while vitamin D plays a critical role in growth factor signaling. Recommended doses are significant. Daily intake of 10,000 international units of vitamin D3 and 30 to 40 milligrams of zinc can provide a strong foundation for hair regrowth. These nutrients do more than prevent deficiency, they actively prime follicles to respond to regenerative therapies. Beyond supplementation, natural enzyme inhibitors can help modulate DHT levels without the side effects of pharmaceutical drugs. Ingredients such as saw palmetto, pumpkin seed oil, green tea extract, EGCG, and peppermint oil act as 5-alpha reductase inhibitors. By subtly reducing the conversion of testosterone to DHT, these compounds support hair growth while maintaining hormonal balance. They also add anti-inflammatory and antioxidant benefits, further protecting the follicular environment from oxidative stress. Diet plays an equally crucial role. One of the most potent meals for hair health is surprisingly simple: liver, onions, sauerkraut, and pumpkin seeds. Liver is rich in highly bioavailable iron, zinc, copper, selenium, and other trace minerals that follicles rely on. Onions provide quercetin, a powerful anti-inflammatory that protects hair cells. Sauerkraut delivers vitamin C, an antioxidant and collagen supporter, along with hundreds of phytonutrients that help regulate DHT. Pumpkin seeds supply magnesium, trace minerals, and additional 5-alpha reductase inhibition. Together, these foods create a nutrient-dense, hair-supportive environment from the inside out. Addressing the root causes requires a multi-layered strategy, correcting insulin resistance, ensuring optimal nutrient intake, moderating DHT through natural inhibitors, and supporting follicular repair with mechanical and light therapies. Only by attacking the problem from every angle can the follicle's environment be restored to a state where hair can thrive once more. Without this integrated approach, treatments will at best offer temporary improvement, leaving follicles vulnerable to recurring damage. Now that we've dissected the mechanisms and identified the key therapies, it's time to integrate them into a cohesive strategy, a roadmap for lasting hair restoration. It begins at the systemic level. Insulin resistance must be reversed. This isn't optional, it is the foundation. When insulin sensitivity improves, the body regulates glucose efficiently, free testosterone levels normalize, and DHT production slows. The effect cascades down to the scalp, reducing inflammation and preventing scar tissue formation around follicles. Those who ignore this step are merely treating symptoms, not the disease. Simultaneously, nutritional interventions provide the building blocks necessary for repair. Zinc and vitamin D remain non-negotiable for stem cell activation and growth factor signaling. Natural 5-alpha reductase inhibitors like saw palmetto, pumpkin seed oil, green tea extract, and peppermint oil can be layered on top to subtly reduce DHT without risking libido or other side effects. Combining these with a nutrient-dense diet featuring liver, onions, sauerkraut, and pumpkin seeds supplies iron, phytonutrients, vitamins, and trace minerals in bioavailable forms, everything the follicle requires to regenerate. The final layer targets the follicle itself. Mechanical stimulation through microneedling breaks down scar tissue, restores circulation, and activates stem cells. Red and near-infrared light therapy revives mitochondrial function, providing the energy necessary for hair growth. Topical solutions like rosemary oil or minoxidil enhance blood flow, ensuring oxygen and nutrients reach the revitalized follicles. Together, these therapies transform the follicular environment from hostile to nurturing. The science behind this integrated approach is compelling. Each layer addresses a different facet of the problem: systemic hormones, enzymatic activity, nutrient availability, and follicular health. The synergy multiplies results, far surpassing any single treatment in isolation. Patients who combine these strategies often report not only thicker hair, but also improved scalp texture, less shedding, and enhanced shine. In essence, the follicles are awakened from a long dormancy and reintroduced to an optimal growth environment. Here's the critical insight: hair loss is not a cosmetic issue alone. It is a complex interplay of hormones, metabolism, cellular energy, and environmental stressors. To reverse it, one must approach it holistically. Neglect any layer and progress stalls. Address all layers, and the dormant follicles can awaken, allowing hair to grow thicker, stronger, and healthier than many thought possible. The question now is, will you commit to addressing the root causes, restoring your follicles, and giving your hair the chance to thrive again? The answer may change everything you thought you knew about hair regrowth.